Welcome to the Astrid Mueller Show. My name is Astrid Mueller. I got well from breast cancer stage 4, and I wrote the book Permission to Sparkle. I'm on a mission to inspire people around the world to what's possible. Today, I'm here with a special Integrative Wellness Leader Talk series where I interview leaders in wellness and we get to discover ideas to support ourselves: body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul. Get ready for an inspiring interview and to discover what's possible. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to a next episode of an intriguing conversation all around integrative wellness. I have a surprise guest here for you that will be a delight to talk to. He lives in the light energy of joy, and I'm super excited to introduce him. So his name is Lenny Ravich, and he's an 89-year-old keynote speaker, author, and Gestalt therapist whose life work bridges humor, healing, and human connection. His message lands with lightness and truth, shaped by decades of lived experience, not theory. Lenny doesn't just talk about joy, he lives it, and I can attest to that. As we were setting up, he made me laugh. So I'm super happy to have you here, Lenny. It's an honor. Welcome to our conversation.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. So tell us a bit that people can meet you. I know you've dedicated your whole life to making people laugh, and you had a whole journey. You've done a lot of things in life. Can you give us a bit of like a summary of magic points from your life, what brought you today and to what you do today?
Well, I won the sperm race. That's obvious. The other thing that I remember, which I think started me on this path, was bringing home a very bad report card from school.
Okay.
And I gave it to my mother, and she said, "This belongs to me." And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "Because I'm in school more than you."
Oh.
Which was the truth. She was being called to school all the time because I was trying to make people laugh and I wasn't studying right. And I wanted to be the center of attention like all narcissists. And it got me into a lot of trouble. And the next thing I do, I get a message from above, study theater. So I went to a school in Boston called Emerson College, and I studied theater there. And I went to New York and became an actor. Okay. I was a Shakespearean actor, and everything started from there.
Amazing. That's so interesting. Something just happened for me, and I pay attention to intuition as you were talking. And I know that we have all different accents. I know I have a Swiss accent. When you said theater, the first thing that I heard was fear. I studied fear, and I'm like, what? Wow. So I'm just curious, like, if we take that as a play prompt for your life, like you started out with joy, and then what if this were what you wanted to say, which you didn't, but what if you did study fear? Did that show up in your life somehow?
Oh, also? Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm glad we're talking about that. That, things just don't happen. Because we hear what we hear and we say what we say, but 99.9% of my life is fear right this moment.
Wow. Okay.
As I'm talking to you, I'm living in fear.
I hope not. Why is that?
Well, because, this is spontaneous. It's an improvisation. I have no idea where it's going to go. It's not scripted. And that's life. And many times I had to take a leap of faith and just say, I'm afraid, and I'm going to do it anyway, because whatever message I got that I had to do, I realized that I had two knives. One knife was in front of me, and one knife was in back of me. If I was afraid to do it, I would go back, and I would die that way. And if I went forward, I would die that way. So I had two choices of death. I hope I'm coming across clearly. And so I always chose not to go back and die in fear, but go ahead and die in the event, in what I was called to do. And whatever I was called to do scared the hell out of me. I remember when I was the director of a Gestalt Institute in a city called Haifa in Israel.
Yep.
And my partner, I had a partner, and she said to me, people leave this group instead of crying, they're laughing. And people were saying that the laughter kills their pain. A woman came to me and said, I don't know what you were saying, but the pain in my back is gone from the laughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I began to study laughter and humor to see how that affects our health and our relationships. And it's the best thing ever. And so, yes, I do live in fear, and I'm proud of it.
That is so interesting that you say that, because I tend to say that I don't live in fear anymore. Although, of course there's a percentage. I think I'll take the 0.1 percentage that you don't mention.
Okay.
So let's just play this scenario real quick, and maybe something interesting will come from this. So when I went through cancer and cancer stage 4, and you said that it also inspired you to come on this podcast conversation, because I got well from that journey, and I had joy as a focus. And I believe that really supported my healing from the inside out and with all my choices. And so I was radical in choosing joy, to also choose it in my thoughts, and to not believe fears, and when I had fears come up, to embrace them. Sometimes you have to step through them, right? So I did have, like some treatments were scary or whatever. So like you say, I also stepped through things, but in general, how I'm living now, I choose to not let stories scare me, but kind of instantly train myself to step back, like, wait a minute, what's really happening? And is this my truth? And so I live very peacefully for the most part.
Well, that sounds like pure wisdom.
Oh.
In other words, what you're doing is you're using the humor and laughter and the joy to support you while you were ill, and
Mm-hmm.
also that you feel the fear. You know what you're feeling, no matter what it is, which is a tremendous awareness. Which is what I teach in Gestalt, because when you're aware, you have choices. You have better choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so your choice is, okay, I'm feeling this. What do I do with it? I have a choice. I could say, go away. I don't want you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could get stuck in the thought and scare myself and all those things. So thank you for that.
Oh, that's really sweet. Well, it's an interesting conversation, because, like you say, we do have a choice. And what you're doing, you're living a happy life too, right? So I'm actually calling you out. Like, I don't believe that you're 99% fearful, because you're such a joyful person, right? Like, so what I hear you say is that you still have it in your field, and like you live with the fear. It's part of life. Is that what you're saying? But you also, how do you live with it? Like, you step through it, you step forward, right?
Well, I honor it, and I let it. I was backstage once, and my body was in. I was coming on as a guest to a big show, which was a nationwide show, and I was feeling my body was in pain. Everything was in pain,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so scared. And I finally just said to myself, "I'm scared," and I just let it go. Not go, but I let it expand. I said, I'd like to be more scared. Let me be more scared.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment I said that, okay, now I have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling the fear, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel that God is guiding me. God is with me.
Yeah.
And so I just take that step, and that leap of faith. As I said, there's that knife in the front and the knife in the back. I could say no, and so I just jump forward into the knife, and whatever happens, happens.
So then, okay, let's speak to this. So what happened when you stepped forward? Was there really a knife, or was that just a thought that you had before?
No, the knife is always there, because there's always that fear of humiliation or the fear of failure.
Okay.
I'm standing on stage, the people aren't laughing or something, or the people aren't paying attention. That is death. They say that death is easy, comedy is hard.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay. Wow. All right.
So
Makes you all the
whenever I get an
braver.
invitation and I have to go on stage, there's that tremendous fear, but I allow it. I don't
Hmm.
stop it. I don't say, no, I'm not scared. I'm brave. I'm like, no, I'm scared. Let it happen. Let it be scared. And then I feel the release. I can just let it go and be with the people who I have
Nice.
to engage with, you know?
Nice. So you stay present with it and you do things anyway. So you follow your joy and your call to adventure is what I'm hearing you say. Is that right?
Absolutely adventure, man. That is it. Joy and
Yeah.
adventure. You know,
Yeah.
and you're going to get beat up, but you know that's the price you pay. I got beat
Mm.
up plenty of times, you know.
So tell us more about this Gestalt therapy. Like, what is that for people who have never heard of it before? And I had to research it a little bit to get a bit of a sense of it also, because you seem to be living it also. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Look, I can give you a very short answer. The first of all, there is a thing of here and now, being with someone in a
Yeah.
dialogue. The way
Mm-hmm.
we are right now is here and now,
Yep.
and we have no idea what's going to be in the next second. We don't have a script, and the here and now is also a place where we become aware. Where as we speak, we're becoming aware of some new things,
Mm-hmm.
and that awareness is the healing in Gestalt. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
I add to that some of my studies of Martin Buber, actually, he says it's not the awareness that's the healing, it's just being here and now together. And he calls it the between. He calls the
Mm-hmm.
healing is in the here and now, in the between. What's happening to us right now is a healing
I like
because we
that.
are here and now, you know, and we're
Yeah.
dialoguing and we're becoming
Mm-hmm.
aware. And so I use the two of those philosophies in my work, and I allow people to just be who they are, and I am who I
Mm-hmm.
am, and I'm transparent. And if I'm feeling something, I don't hide it. You know, well, that's not right. That's not what the therapist is supposed to do. But that doesn't apply to me because I do me,
Yeah.
and I think that's the healing as well. Just being me and you being you, and that's in the here and now.
Yeah, and I heard that that's part of the uniqueness of Gestalt therapy, that the therapists also are permitted to share from their own humanness and story and be present with that as well. So you're able to allow your own wisdom to come through, right? Is that part of it?
Well, they say that in Gestalt therapy, there is no difference between the therapist and the client, except
Yep.
one of them is someone. Just one of them is getting paid.
Oh, well, okay, that's probably a little bit undervaluing what you do, but but it's
It's
also
not
funny.
undervaluing. It's valuable to get paid. What do you mean undervalue?
No, I mean undervaluing that's the only difference.
Well,
Okay.
you know, somebody has to pay the rent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, awesome. So the being present piece is actually that's a really powerful piece, right? So how did that in your life when you say that tell us a bit more about this magic, because I also feel that this is where our superpowers lie when we are present, right? That's what you hear in spirituality, and like that's what I experience too when we don't look in the future or the back, but we actually feel our feet in the ground. And that's what also helped me through cancer. It's like one step at a time. I can take this one step. I can do this one thing right now, right? Like so how has that showed up in your life as a magical piece to connect you to your superpowers?
Well, I think what you're saying is marvelous. I think what you're saying is that you stay in the here and now, and you say, "This is what I can do right
Yeah.
now,"
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's marvelous because that I think is the depth of wisdom is the ability to just be with what who you are, and
Mm-hmm.
if you do go into the future, stay aware of the fact that you're going into the future, or you're worried about something, or you're thinking about the past. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Just, it's like a meditation. You stay aware of where your mind is going and
Yeah.
then make a decision. Okay, I'll go there. I'll frighten myself. Or no, I'll come back to the here and now. I'll concentrate on my breathing and just stay here and now with you. That's it.
Mhm.
And I think what you're saying is marvelous.
Oh, thank you.
And it's great advice for people who are ill or who are facing some really tough times.
Yeah.
It just just stay in the here and now, and like you said, I do what I can do right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for reflecting that back. And that was actually one of my almost like an emergency mode, right? Like if there's so much going on, I had to do that for myself too. I can do this one thing right now. And then I kept that whenever things felt hard coming up, like, oh, tomorrow I have this procedure and it scares me. Like, well, I can do this thing right now and I'm just going to focus on this. And then it got me also out of the future. And it's funny that you say the can do thing. That's also, I started capitalizing the CAN in cancer when I was writing about it. So I still do that a lot because there's always something we can do right now. We can certainly do. Anyway, it's one of the mindset tools that I discovered.
One of my friends had to have a heart procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And I had gone through the same thing, and he was scared. We were writing to each other. He was living in Los Angeles, and I'm here in Tel Aviv. And I wrote to him and told him, the day of your surgery, you just decide that this is going to be the best day of your life, and it's going to be the most fun.
Nice.
And so when I had to go for my surgery, my heart surgery, I decided I was going to have fun today.
Nice. That's amazing.
I swear to God. And it happened. In other words, it's something like I prepared to happen. And then, as you say, the magic happens. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I see the doctor, the one who's going to be doing the procedure, and his name is on his uniform. It says Caspi. And he looks at me and he said, "Lenny Ravich, nice to see you again." And I said, "When did I ever know you before?" He said, "You were my teacher in high school." What? And I'm going to myself, oh, no. I hope I gave him a good grade, because it's going to be revenge time. And so I said, "Did I give you a good grade?" And he said to me, "Lenny, look, being in your class was so entertaining. We never learned anything, but it was so much fun." And so I knew that I was in good hands. And during an angioplasty, you're awake as they're operating on you and putting in the catheter and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I was talking, and he said, "Shut up! I'm in your heart." And then I started to tell jokes, and he said, "Don't make me laugh. I'm in your heart." And so you just carry this with you and decide, I'm going for a procedure today, and it's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be laughing with the doctor, telling jokes, sharing things. I usually give my book. When I go to a doctor, I usually immediately say, "May I give you my book?" And this usually shocks them because everybody's interested in me. And I'm saying, "Here's my book, and I'd like to sign it for you." Mm-hmm. So the cardiologist says, "You can sign it for me later." And I said to him, "If there is a later, Anyway, so that's what you have to do. Just whatever procedure you have to go through, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You're going to have a good time and enjoy it. Make that decision now, and then wake up in the morning and reinforce it, and then things start to happen and even if you die laughing. So what the hell?"
That is such a relief that you're saying this. And I think it's a big, it's something that many people don't even think about thinking, it's like the opposite of what you're thinking you can think. And that's so like far out there for many. We're like, "Oh my gosh, surgery is so scary," that we forget that we can choose that. And one thing that I also hear from you is the power of intention. So when you expect that I'm setting the intention, this will be joyful, I'm setting my heart to it, and you're kind of lining yourself up for it. So you contribute, but you also allow it to happen, right? Like that's probably why a lot of your life has like unfolded naturally in positive ways, don't you think?
Yeah, well, it's like you say, what is your magic?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. You're setting yourself up either to be in danger, or you're setting yourself up for a fun day. I mean, I'll never forget it. Also, I wrote a book called Everlasting Optimism,
No,
and
yeah,
in that book, I give some examples of what um, being a creative, humor and creativity. And I give examples of how I managed to, uh, being in the here and now with that creativity and with that humor, change a situation that could have been, dreadful, and make it humorous and a lot of fun. So
yeah.
uh, I'll get you a copy.
Yeah. Oh, I will purchase a copy because it sounds amazing. Or, yeah, I'm not refusing a gift. So if you really want to, I will gracefully accept it.
Okay, great.
Wow. Yeah. So, okay. Joy as a superpower is one thing that I just also heard you say because I heard you say, and I know you had an example in one of your other podcasts where you shared a story where there was an angry person came to you, and I would think it was in a bus or something, and you could have responded with anger, but you chose to respond with joy, and you diffused the situation. You probably had a lot of such stories happen, but how has this shown up in your life that joy was a superpower to shift things also for others? I'm sure you have a ton of stories around that.
Well, I remember sitting next to an older man like myself
Mm-hmm.
on a bus, and I was carrying my bag with me, and he said, with a lot of anger, and this can really influence me. He said, "You hit me with your bag,"
Mm-hmm.
right in my face, and I
Mm-hmm.
could feel the anger rising up. And once you become aware of the fact that it's not a G, instead of a knee jerk response like, well, if you want privacy, take a taxi.
Yes.
So okay, I'm aware of that anger, and now, so to do something outrageous, like I took my bag and I slapped it, and I said, naughty bag, naughty bag. Say you're sorry to the old man. And I looked at him and I saw a look on his face like, do I know you from the third grade? It was like he went back into his elementary school, which was the
Wow.
last time he ever probably smiled.
Oh my
And we
God.
both, bonded, in that way. It was a lovely moment. And I've had many moments of those. I compare that in my book as a bullfight. If you look at your life as a bullfight,
Mm-hmm.
there's the bullfighter has one weapon only. He has his red cape.
Mm-hmm.
And when the bull comes, the bull is not looking for you. The bull is looking for the red cape.
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel that anger and the red bull is coming, you put the cape to the side, and the bull
Oh.
goes by.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the opportunity to put something in, a smile, some joy, some happiness, some love,
Yeah.
rather than that knee jerk response of screaming at the traffic. Like my
That.
like my taxi driver used to say. I used to get angry at
Mm-hmm.
traffic jams until I realized the traffic jam doesn't care. So I I got to the I got to the conclusion that reality doesn't care about my reaction. So let's choose a good one. Uh, Attitude is everything. So choose a good one. That was from Dr. Dwayne Dyer. I read his book,
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
and he says that. And then that you know, attitude is everything. Choose a good one.
That's a beautiful one. I love that metaphor of the bullfighter because I'm a visual thinker, and that's such a cool visual to imagine the red cape being the anger that you can hold on to tightly and you feel it and it's right on you, or you can hold it outside and then you kind of become the observer, right? And you're like, no, I'm choosing to put the anger here. I've heard that as like some coaching spiritual tool as well. We can imagine a conversation happening outside of us, and then we don't instantly respond, but we choose what we put into the conversation. It's a similar concept. It's so cool. And then you're empowered. You're still in the present, right?
Thank you. Yeah, and that all happens in a nanosecond. If you're
Mm-hmm.
aware of what's going on with you, your emotions, you have the choice of that second, that nanosecond, to choose joy, to
Yeah.
choose fun, to choose love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm glad you like that image.
Oh, that's super powerful. I really love it. For all the visual thinkers out there, I'm sure they will also appreciate it. Because, what I see, like when we talk about integrative wellness, right, I love to bring up that everything is interconnected: body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul. So what I see as a cool creative prompt that we could even do is like bring our body into this. And if we want to retrain our knee-jerk reaction to just, the first thing can be color red, like have that pop up in your head, right? Like, wait a minute, bullfighter. Okay. And then even like maybe like move your arms for a second, right? And say like,
Let it go. Let it go.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And like nobody knows what you're doing, but you're like, oh, I'm a bullfighter. I'm holding this outside of me. I'm not reacting from that. I think there's a lot of power in this. And we could actually retrain our brain doing this a few times and add a song. Then you have the music and the hearing. Anyway, I'm getting ideas, right? Like how we can retrain ourselves to act from being present, from that magic moment.
I'm glad that you're using the word train, because we have to train ourselves. It's not something that we automatically do. It's like, as you said, to train ourselves. And then it becomes a habit. Once you train yourself, being aware, putting the cape to the side and coming up with something positive. All that is training. It takes years.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Actually, I'm going to diffuse that. I don't think it has to take years. What if it doesn't? Because I shared this story on another podcast episode, but I had experiences where I thought that it would take me such a long time, for example, to be able to go jogging, but it only took me like 3 days in a row, and suddenly it worked. And I know that there are studies out there that it doesn't take as much as we think to do something repeatedly, and then it becomes a habit. I don't know the numbers of it, but I know it's not years. I think that's a misconception that we have overall, to change your life, then yeah, like in the longer picture, years to really feel and suddenly look back like, oh my gosh, my life is totally different. But it can happen so fast too. Both is true, I think.
I agree. I agree.
So we are living in a challenging time, and joy is such a superpower that you really live. And I have two questions that I'm going to be bringing. Let's start with, what do you tell people in today's times when there is so much triggering happening? And I know the news and like people go on social media, even people on the street might be, angry. And what do you give people as maybe role modeling? Like, and you already kind of said it, right? But like, what do you say to the people who feel so triggered and like in this, like, how do they remember their magic and to come back to the present? Like, what other things come to you?
Well, I remember talking to my kids. I'm living here in Israel, where it's a very dangerous place. We have going to the shelters, whenever there's bombings and stuff.
Yes.
So I was having a discussion with my kids, when is it going to be over? What is this? Who's that? Who's making this decision? And my answer to them was, the best advice I can give you is buy a bag of popcorn.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And they said, why popcorn? I said, because you're watching a movie. You're not in the movie. You're a witness to yourself. You're a witness to life. If you have that part of your personality that you can be the witness, and you can let it become your own drama becomes a play. You can see it on stage. You can see it on the screen. You don't have to be in it. You can look at it. Oh, Lenny is getting scared now. Oh, Lenny is getting angry now. I said, be the witness to what's happening. Don't be because, people poison themselves with these thoughts, with these
Interesting.
fears.
Yep.
But you have that witness standing on the side, watching you and
Mm-hmm.
saying, Lenny, look at you. You're going into this terrible place. You're going to you hurt your health in many ways if you keep this up. Just watch it and buy a bag of popcorn and watch the movie. It's only a movie. That's all it is. It's a movie. I
You know,
remember my wife
mhm.
coming to me, in the middle of the night, sometimes the siren to go to the shelters, and she screams at me and she says, "Come on, let's go to the shelter." And I said to her, "Today's my last day, and I don't feel like dying in a shelter. I would rather die sitting on this um, comfortable chair watching a nice movie." I mean,
Mhm.
that's becoming the witness to life is a much healthier way, because then if you want to get into it, you can get into it, but stay out of it and watch it and buy popcorn.
That is such a revolutionary thing to say. And I see the total brilliance in it because, I have a counter example of many have said after COVID, for example, right, that the biggest epidemic was actually the people being fearful and separated, right, and like alone and bigger, like the effect on the health when we're living in fear, like that's what you're alluding to as well, right? Like you said, like poison, fear poisons us. Can you elaborate a bit more, like from your expertise, like how do you see it like happening for our health when we're not choosing joy but fear?
Well, we have a chemical in our body called cortisol,
Mm-hmm.
and it's deadly. It's deadly. And then you have another chemical in the body. I think how you pronounce it over there, serotonin or serotonin, whatever it is.
Serotonin, I think. I'm not an expert either, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. And dopamine. I mean, those are the positive, uplifting chemicals. And you don't have to go to the pharmacy to buy it. You have it in your body. And so a little bit of laughter, it releases these positive
Mm-hmm.
elements, and it actually kills pain, and it kills the deadly chemicals that are in our body. I would like
Mm-hmm.
to try something with you right now,
Yeah,
and an experiment, and
sure.
see what happens after about 10 seconds of this. And you tell me how you feel. Are you ready?
I'm sure.
Okay. We're going to laugh for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And you tell me how you feel. One, two,
Okay.
three, and
Yeah.
now take a deep breath
Yeah. I
and
feel the
say,
relief.
ah.
Feels so
Another
good.
deep breath. Ah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It feels amazing. I hope everybody did this with us and you're listening. And if you didn't, like pause this and do this right now and just feel what happens in your body when you do this.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you for bringing that. So good. And I know there's like laughter therapy, there's laughter yoga out there. So I love that you gave us a taster to actually remember how it feels in our body, right? Of course, it feels good and healthy. Yeah.
So the,
So,
the, the negative thoughts are activating the cortisol. Stay away
mhm.
from that as much as possible. Even movies, when I see it says a horror movie or something, I just stay away
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
I don't go on X if I see that there's some miserable stuff
Hmm.
I just put it aside. I don't want to watch this. I don't want my cortisol being activated and
Yeah.
having damage on my mind
Yeah.
and my body and my soul.
Yeah, that's so good that you say that. I love that. And one thing, and I'm just gonna bring it like how I see it, and I would love to see your take too. So I'm gonna claim that joy is actually one of our superpowers as a guide, because what I think happens when we focus on joy and choose joy, like first of all, like you're saying, like we activate positive things in our body. The chemistry is positive. We feel better. And what I also feel for myself is like, I find my best ideas when I'm joyful, when I play, right? Like I hear my intuition, suddenly the ideas pop in. I think outside of the box and I find solutions. And when I'm in fear, I don't do anything. I'm petrified and I imagine the worst scenario, right? So I feel like if everybody in the world, everybody who listens says, and please share it if it resonates, like I actually feel in these times that feels so disempowering to so many people. When we remember and focus on joy, we actually reclaim our superpowers, right? What is your take on all this?
I think that the only two things that I think are worth working on are joy and love.
Oh, nice.
Love and joy. And the more you can give this to other people, the healthier you become, because
Yeah.
we're wired to make people feel happy, and that makes us happy. I know when people say to me, Lenny, how are you? And I say, when I see you, my heart flies like an eagle.
Oh,
That You know what I mean? That gets a smile. And their smile gets me to smile. This is what we were. This is what we came into this world for. This love and this joy,
mm-hmm.
and anything else. You have to work on to put it aside, because it's not going to be anything. If you can live totally well, you can't live totally in love and joy, but you have moments where you say, I choose now, to
Mm-hmm.
make somebody smile. I can do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like we laughed, or to say something to someone. When I say, how are you? And I say, now is my best moment, because there is no other moment. And it all depends on what I do with this moment, and I choose to do something very positive for somebody else,
Yeah,
and that comes back to me. I think that love and joy are the staple. I think
I
that's
love
where
it.
we have to stay. Yes.
That is so. I love that you brought love into the picture. Also, of course, yeah, and that's also from like when we think of wellness, body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul. Like that's part of our soul, right? Soul signature, and our spirit soars when we're connected to love, and ultimately, most of us want that, right? And that's why some get scared and fight or whatever. But like, yeah, love is the thing that we all
Well,
love,
I told my
want,
I told my I
deserve.
told my wife I told my wife that she's perfect, and she said, "How do you say that?" And I said, "Because I decided not to suffer anymore. If you're not perfect, I suffer. So you're perfect. The world is perfect. This conversation is perfect. Everything is perfect, because if it's not, I'm going to suffer. So let's make it perfect. All right. Everything
Interesting.
that's happening. The sun comes up. The sun sets. Winter, summer. That's it. Let's accept it, and uh,
Oh,
that's it. You know.
there's
It,
there's a lot
go
of
ahead.
wisdom in that. There's a lot of wisdom in that. I love that. I guess I hear you saying like choosing acceptance. So like seeing potential imperfection, but also not choosing to respond from anger or a dispute or whatever, right? Like, so you choose observing imperfectly perfect and accepting everybody with however we show up in all the colors, right? Because we all have unique. What is perfect anyway, right? Um,
I don't know, but I do know that my decision. Um, I go to the pool sometimes to go to swim, and my mind is already made up that everybody I see is perfect, and everybody I see I'm in love with. And
mm,
so that's the way they feel the vibe, and they give
yeah,
me back the vibe.
yeah, yeah.
And even if I forget their names, and they'll say, hi, Lenny, the big smile, because making people feel good with that, and giving them the attention that they need, and
Hmm.
seeing them, and complimenting and so forth. It's that's the magic. That's the
Oh my
magic.
gosh. I love this so much. If we all do that, can you imagine? Then we have a love fest, then we're all just like giving good vibes to each other and accept each other. It's like world peace right there.
Yeah. Imagine all the people
Yes, like absolutely. Oh my gosh.
living for today. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I want to bring something, and I love our conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I really honor your wisdom and your stories and where it's all going. And thank you for showing up with also like from Israel, like because you're really an amazing, inspiring example in a war zone. You're in a freaking war zone, and you're still living with this philosophy and choice, and you are experiencing magic, and you're making a difference, right? And it's priceless, and it's so important, especially in those times and places, right? So thank you for
I
that.
don't know if I'm making a difference because I never concentrate on the outcome. I just am who I
Mm.
am, and wherever it lands, it lands. I'm not interested in outcomes.
Well, you are making a difference. I'm speaking that to you, and I see it, and I know that what you do when and what we all do when we put a smile out into the world. That's a simple exercise. We will see it. It will ripple on, just like a yawn will be contagious. Smiles are contagious, you
Right,
know.
right.
So it does happen. So I do want to bring something back to potential skeptics or like, oh, you can't have joy when like you should be doing something or whatever. And one of the skeptic voices that I heard a lot also when I was going through cancer or afterward is the concept of fake joy. And I saw something in your, I think in one of your shows or podcasts or something, that you lived your life. First, you were like until your 50s or something, until you discovered Gestalt therapy. And before you used humor in a different way that wasn't as empowering. Can you speak to that? What was the difference for you before and after?
Well, my humor was a, a tool to avoid
Mm,
any uncomfortable. You know, if somebody was angry at me, instead of listening to them and
mm,
having them talk about their anger, I would crack a joke or make a, and that pushed people away from me. That was not what they needed. They needed me to
yeah,
hear them.
yeah.
And also with my wife, I have been very cynical. And she told me
Uh,
several times, you're using your humor as cynical and you're laughing at me, not with me.
mm,
And so yeah, it was a narcissistic takeoff of a funny guy, but using humor to run away and not
mm,
to accept my feelings and
yeah.
not to accept other people's feelings. And so somehow through the Gestalt, I began to accept others' fear, others' anger, others' joy, whatever it was. It was uncomfortable, but I learned how to do that.
Hmm.
And that was a quite a journey for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow.
I,
And
w-
so,
I was funny, but it was a narcissistic, a toxic narcissistic funny.
okay. Yeah, and I also, I also have a story, I guess, that before I got sick with cancer, I was also not always going to that depth emotionally, and I was also I guess people saw me like, oh, sparkle girl, like, yeah, you're always happy, woo, but like you don't get the depth of it, right? So in a way, I was coasting a little bit and not as grounded in it. And what I'm getting from this whole conversation is it comes back to being present and like embracing all the emotions, and then the joy comes from that depth of that, right? That's what I found where the true joy came from, when I face the feelings, face the fears or whatever, and then allow the natural joy to come through from that, right? Did that happen for you also?
Yes, yes. Once you accept and face what you're going through, even though it's very scary, uh, it changes.
Yeah.
Something happens,
Yep.
and and people are blocking it. People are
Mhm.
blocking it,
Yep.
and and that's not that's and it stays there. But if you are saying, "Okay, I'm scared, I'm gloomy, I'm depressed, or I'm very sad, or whatever," and just allow that
Mm-hmm.
to be, and just say, "Okay, let me feel it more scared,"
Mm-hmm.
and then boom,
Yep.
you let it go. But you
Yep.
can't let it go if you don't own it.
Yes. Yes.
And if you
Yes. Yes.
try to run away from it, we have a saying in Gestalt: what you resist persists.
Persist. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so interesting. And I love that example. And I want to reflect that to everybody too. If you've never tried this, to sit with your emotions, like fear, for example, or any difficult situation, like just pausing a moment and really feeling those feelings and saying like, okay, I feel you. Let's amplify it. Let's feel all of the terribleness of it. Right. I've done this before too. And then sit it with it again and just be present with it and be in it. And then what I found is it doesn't even take that long. Suddenly it kind of starts, well, not always, but like it will kind of dissolve and like lose its power, right? Because like you said, it leaves the body a lot of
Yeah,
times, right?
you own it, and then you can, if once you own it, you can tell it what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
Yeah,
own you.
nice.
Okay, go. Huh. That's it, and you're back
Mm-hmm.
in joy.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And if people want to go deeper and have more, and they like, sometimes we also need help or a mirror or somebody to talk to process the different things, right? So Gestalt therapy, and you're still assisting people with that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, that's
I
amazing.
yeah. I'm glad to do it. I because you see, in the Gestalt, what happens is if nothing happens to the therapist, if the therapist isn't changed
Mm-hmm.
by the meeting,
Mm-hmm.
then the client isn't changed. I mean, it has to be uh, a two-way street. You become one, and then you're affected, you're influenced, they're influenced. If that doesn't happen, there's no healing.
Oh, so give an example. So somebody comes to you and they're distressed or something. Like, in what way would you be affected? Can you give an example?
Yeah. Well, I can see it, and they don't even have to tell me. I feel it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's on the screen. I don't take people individually anymore. Since COVID, I've been doing things on Zoom and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So they come on the screen, and I can see it. I can see what's going on with them. And okay, so they might bring something to me, and all I have to do is listen,
Oh, yeah,
because
that's so big. Yeah.
I'll tell you, people don't have anybody to listen to them. They're talking to
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And what happens is it's going around in their own head,
Yep.
and they're
Yep.
messing with their heads. But once they start to talk, I don't bother. I can just have them going on and on and on, and then they stop, and then they go on, and they hear themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
and this is a way of healing as well, is to finally having somebody who just sits there and listens to you and
Yes.
is transparent. And then I might say something like, what I'm getting from you is this and this and this and this. Yeah, that's right. This and this and this and this. Now, if there's something in my life that happened that's similar, I'll
Mm-hmm.
share it.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened to me, the same thing that's happening to you. Da 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 da. So they have somebody to identify with.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a journey too. You're on a journey, and this is what happens on the journey. And I have a saying that intimacy. My interpretation of intimacy is into me see.
Oh, interesting. I love the play of words on that. Yeah. Okay. Into like seeing into yourself, basically.
Well, having me look into myself and having them
Mm-hmm.
look into me. That's the
Mm-hmm.
intimacy. Into me see.
Uh, that's that. I love that. That's funny and powerful at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh
You're
my
a,
gosh.
you're a wonderful audience. I'll tell you that.
Thank you. Well, I love your philosophy, and I'm a big proponent of joy for my own journey. And I'm so glad that you came on the show to speak to the power of joy for our health. You alluded to like pain going away. You alluded to changing realities by diffusing fear and danger, even with joy, and to change our mindset with joy. To oh my gosh, to find quality in life, even in freaking war, right? Like,
Oh
it's
yeah. Oh
amazing.
yeah.
You brought so much inspiration. So thank you so much. Before we
Well, thank
close it,
you.
before we
Yes.
close it, two things. Like, what would you love people to, like, anything that we haven't mentioned that you would really love to share, a tool or a thought or for people to remember?
You mean something like they could use every day or say to themselves?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever comes through for you that you're like, oh, Spirit is telling me this, or like, this is, I'm passionate. We need to mention this. I know you have a formula too, but like whatever you want to say.
Okay, look, I'll tell you what I do, and everybody can do this. When I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror, I smile.
Nice.
And I say, are you still here? 2 seconds and I'm already, elevating myself. Are you still here?
That's awesome. Oh, that's so great. And you're 89 years old. You're amazing. You're a great inspiration for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I love being with you. And it's such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise. So tell people, where can they find you? What's the website you would love them to come check out?
Lenny Ravich, LennyRavich.org.
Thank you so much for watching or listening. Question: what did this spark in you today? Take one baby step and act on it. One small step can change your world and will ripple to others. The world really needs more sparkle. If you like more inspiration like this, come join us in our free Integrative Wellness Oasis on School. We are an amazing community of wellness lovers and professionals where you get to discover new ideas, resources, and also really cool virtual retreats. We love going on virtual cruises too. If you loved this episode, please share it with someone who might love this inspiration as well. Until next time, keep exploring and follow the sparkle.